colonists remain marginal. The self-assurance of the map jars our conventional assumptions about colonial history, which casts Indians as primitive, marginal, and doomed. We do not expect to find natives acting as the self-confident teachers of colonists cast as rather obtuse, but redeemable students. Indeed, the map offers an alternative vision of coexistence on native terms. In the lower left corner, near Charlestown, the map seems to depict a deployed parachute, but modern eyes trick us into assuming that the subsequent English labels define a consistent up and down or north and south. In fact, the Nassau intended viewers to circle around the map to view it from every angle without privileging any one side. The apparent parachute is, instead, a ship with a central mast mounted by a pennant and linked by ropes to the deck. In addition to a grid of streets, Charlestown impressed natives as a harbor filled with ships capable of crossing the Atlantic. Ultimately, the map represents the meeting of two different but increasingly interpenetrated networks, the native-made circles and paths of the interior, and the colonial entrepot of transatlantic commerce. Brought together in 1721, the Catawba map-givers and the English colonial governor jointly speak to the efforts by historians in recent years to grasp the interplay of the Atlantic and continental dimensions of colonial history. Atlantic historians examine the interdependence of Europe, Africa, and the Americas through the transatlantic flow of goods, people, plants, animals, capital, and ideas. Continental historians seek to restore the importance of native peoples to the colonial story. Rather than treat Indians as unchanging and doomed primitives, the continental approach emphasizes the natives' ability to adapt to the newcomers and to compel concessions from them. The new combination of Atlantic and continental history challenges the older history of colonial America that emphasized the English cultural seeds first planted at Jamestown in Virginia in 1607 and at Plymouth in New England in 1620. According to the older view, American history began in the East in the English colonies and spread westward into a vast continent without a prior history. In the old history, the continent's Indian peoples and Spanish and French colonies seemed relevant only as enemies, as challenges that brought out the best in the English as they remade themselves into Americans. Known as American exceptionalism, the old history offers a national origins myth where common English colonists escaped from the rigid customs, social hierarchies, and constrained resources of Europe into an abundant land of both challenge and opportunity. Rising to the challenge, they prospered by working hard to turn the forest into farms. In the process, they became entrepreneurial and egalitarian individualists who could be ruled only by their own consent. Inevitably, they rebelled against British rule to form an independent and republican union of states destined to expand to the Pacific. American exceptionalism cast the colonial period simply as an Anglophone preparation for the United States, defined as a uniquely middle-class society and democracy. There is some truth to the traditional picture, for many British colonists did find more land, greater prosperity, and higher status than they could have achieved by remaining in the mother country, and, save for the West Indies, British America did lack the aristocrats of the mother country, creating a social vacuum that enabled successful lawyers, merchants, and planters to comprise a colonial elite that favored commercial values. But American exceptionalism offers a selective story that obscures the heavy costs of colonization. Thousands of colonists found only intense labor and early graves owing to diseases and Indian hostility, and those who succeeded bought their good fortune by taking lands from Indians and by exploiting the labor of indentured servants and African slaves. Between 1492 and 1776, North America lost population, as diseases and wars killed Indians faster than colonists could replace them. During the 18th century, most colonial arrivals were African conscripts forcibly carried to a land of slavery, rather than European volunteers seeking a domain of freedom. The traditional story also obscures the broad cultural and geographic range of colonial America, which extended far beyond the British colonies of the Atlantic seaboard. Many native peoples encountered colonizers not as westward-bound Englishmen, but as Spanish heading north from Mexico, Russians coming eastward from Siberia, or as French probing the Great Lakes and the Mississippi River. Each of those colonial ventures interacted in distinctive ways with particular settings and diverse Indians to construct varied Americas, all of which contributed to the later United States. Colonial America was far more than a simple story of the English becoming Americans. Colonial societies did diverge from their mother countries, but in a more complex and radical manner than imagined within the narrow vision of American uplift for Englishmen.